So there's a little cabin that we built a few weeks back. This is about 18.5 square meters, this little cabin, and facing north, so the roof is the correct direction to get solar panels on and create some energy. And now we're moving on to a slightly bigger cabin. This is the beginnings of a 9.1 by 3.6 meter cabin, and it is going to be on a floating foundation. Now it could be a bit controversial creating a floating foundation like this, but if you think about it, it's a 30 square meter cabin. It's not a huge structure, and many cabins have been built on skids over the years. It's great to have a side project just in case you get held up in your building. You can have something that you can continue on with. And here we have started a pathway which will run from our front yard all the way down to our shower. I'll give you a tour of the shower shortly. And this is our camper van setup where Barb and I live while we're building this cabin. So my next step, now that I've got them laid out roughly in place, is to find the highest point, and that way I can then start leveling off all of these blocks and get them perfectly level. And I hear you ask, how do we find the highest and lowest point? Well, we get a stake and we put it at one end of the bearers, and then we go right down the other end and put another stake down that end and run a string line. A quick tour of the shower. Nothing too crazy flash here. We've just used some corrugated iron around our inside of our structure. We've got a Gasmate WaterTech Califont. The downpipe is coming from the roof, running into this bucket here. We'll get a bigger bucket eventually, or we'll get a bigger drum, and we might place it outside and plumb that in a bit better with the gas bottle, and then running up to a shower head. Down here we've created the shower tray out of the same stuff as the decking here. I've just cut them down to a more of a slatted size so that it creates a non-slip effect because of the grooves. Now it's got to be really firm because the string line is going to have a lot of tension on it, so there's no sag in the string so that we can find the correct level. So with a string line, we don't want the string to be too tight around the peg. We want to be able to move it up and down here. Once we've got tension on the string line from the other end, we will be able to move this up and down quite easily to find out our measurements and our level eventually. So this is how I can find my highest bearer. I can just simply raise the string line up until I can see that it's not touching any. And we can see that the closest bearer to the string line is obviously our highest one. I don't know if you can see that from there, but following that string line down, it shows me here is the highest point because it's touching just there. None of the others are touching. So there I've marked my highest point, and now what I want to do is level my string line, and I have these two bearers here which are very level to each other. Okay, so what I'm going to do is raise my string line up to this edge of the level, and that way I know that if the string line at either end of the level is in the same position, my string line will be level. Bringing my string line up to this point just by dragging it, going to the other end and doing the same. And through the magic of editing, you haven't had to put up with me adjusting either end of the line, but now I have got the line perfectly level, and we make sure of that by coming to the bottom of our straight edge and making sure that the string is good there and the string is good there. I also just wanted to show you guys, I didn't take the peg out because I knew it was in there nice and secure, so I pre-drilled a hole and put a Tek screw in the top and raised my string line up to the height that was necessary to get the level. And now we can see that there is a different height to the bearers on every bearer. And what this has done is give me a point to work to, and I have to take out each bearer individually and either dig or pack underneath the bearer to get us to the correct level. Okay, so now that I'm happy with my level using that string line, and every pile on this side of the building is to a satisfactory level, and then I now need to turn my attention to this side and level up this side. First of all though, before doing that, I need to get this one level, the end level. I know that that corner is satisfactory, the height that I need. Now I want to go and get this side the right height to make this bearer level. Duke's wondering who I'm talking to. And then I'm going to go down the other end and do the same with that end. And then I'm going to pick up my string line from this side and transfer it across to the other side. Okay, well that's that done. So everything now is level on this side and everything is level on the other side. I still have to put my centre piles in. I'll show you a bit of that later. I'm not incredibly happy with the way I've had to stack these up, these four here especially. So what I'm going to do probably later on is put a bit of a boxing around them and fill those up nice and solid so that the boxing holds all the gravel and it can't slip out from underneath the pile.